Today we're going to talk about support and resistance. So on this chart here, this isn't my chart, this is a nice clean one that I found here, and then we'll get into my messy charts. But basically this shows support and resistance all in one chart. So if you didn't know, support is something where the price stays above, it has support below it, and resistance is where the price has to cross and it hits kind of this invisible line that pushes it back down. And it changes from support to resistance and resistance to support depending on which way you're coming from. So if we're coming up to it, it acts as resistance, and you can see this price here, it stopped around here for about a week, went down to another support area, came back up past it, retouched it, and it is now support. So you can kind of see we built the support here and then continued on. So this just shows the current market here, and it came back down. It came down really hard, kind of like it went up really hard, came down really hard, and then it found its support. Right, so then it bounced off of here, went back up, hit some resistance levels up here that I'll show, came back down, touched again, support, still support, until we cross. We do a hard cross, we'll retouch, and now it's resistance. Now it's going to be hard to get past that level because people think that it's going to turn around there, and most likely it does. So I'll quickly show you some examples, different charts that I made here, and we'll go from there. Okay, so first one is the ETH/USD chart that I am going off of. And some people ask me, well, where do these lines come from? How do you know it's going to stop around 399 or 445, or how do I know these things? It's really easy when you can look back on a chart and see areas of support and resistance, and then you just kind of carry them over. So currently we're over here, and you can see around this price it was struggling, hitting some support and then a little bit of resistance above, and then it continued on. So this right here acts as support or resistance. So we kind of came through, did a little wiggle on it, and we continued on because the trend was down. And then the next area that we're sitting at was the 399, which was the previous two tops back in June and September. So those, I carry that line over, and then that's where we are right now, is just right below that. And then in this middle space, there's not much for support and resistance here. You can kind of see there's nowhere where we really struggled. We kept going up and we kept going down through it. This acted here as a resistance line. As you see, it went through, bounced off of support, came up, back down, went through, down, up, and you can follow this as it kind of goes. And then we stayed around here when ETH was so stable, came back up. This was one little fake out. You could kind of call this like a weak support or resistance, but I don't really consider it anything. But if we drew this line over, it would kind of be in the middle, about 340, I believe. So it's really easy to find support and resistance when you have something behind you to look at. Kind of like how we had this, and then we knew what the support and resistance were coming up to here, because we had this to look off of. It's a little hard to find these when you're going up. All you kind of can do is guess with fib extensions, and I'll show you that in a sec. Next chart. So this is just a close-up of the current area here of ETH/USD on one day, and you can see I drew these blue lines, which is basically the trend that we keep seeming to bounce off of here. So it's kind of like a horizontal line of a support and resistance, but this time it's angled. So you can kind of see that we got angled here, resistance. This was our resistance zone. We confirm it with another top here, so we draw the line between these, and then everyone starts looking at this and seeing the resistance. So everyone's kind of looking at the same thing, so we're all kind of trading with it. And it could be self-fulfilling, but this is the current trend, and this is what people are trading. And then it starts getting a little more steep here. So you have your pivot point here, and you touch one of these, and you let the ray kind of extend, and you can kind of see we've been pushing up against it, but we haven't broken it yet. And we haven't made a bigger downtrend to draw a new line yet. So, and then you mix this with the support and resistance from before. I didn't try anything up here just to keep it clean, but you mix this with the support and resistance before, and you can kind of see we could touch it, we could come through, but if we touch it, we might bounce back down here. So what about when you're going up? So it's a little tricky when you're going up because you have no area to reference back, right? You're hitting all-time highs. So all you can kind of do is things called like fib extensions or pitchforks, and there's different methods and stuff and channels. So we look at here with fib extensions. Basically, you pick your very low right here, and then you pick your very high right here, and it kind of shows you basically your areas of support and resistance based on the fib levels. People traded these levels a lot, so they're kind of common, the ones that come basic on your fib extension. I didn't draw any as we're going up here because I kind of went past this to show where we're headed right here. But you can kind of see that we are hitting some kind of turbulence areas around these, and they become support here, or resistance, and support here for these ones, and then it turns into resistance and it's in a channel here. So with this, if the trend is continuing up in the way that we think, the next targets are $73 and $91. This was ETH/USD on the daily back April, May-ish. Those were definitely some preferred prices to buy in, and we all know what happened from there. So we'll click the next picture. And as you can see, this extension, I didn't change any of these. It came up, retouched the top, and it blew through. Had some, little bit of turbulence here, 73.44, which is kind of expected. And then up here, 91.83 is where it kind of tops out, right? So it kind of sits on this level here, support and resistance. It's bouncing back and forth. And then after this, this line, we move this top point up to here, and we extend it out again. And this is what happens. So we move it up to here, this point that we were, from that bottom. And we can see, oh, here's some, turbulence. Here's where the price was. And you can see how it kind of flickered around that area for a bit. And then I didn't draw the next line here because I'll show you what happens next. Now we found our top. So this was our top. Tops like to be usually on like round numbers like 20,000 USD or 400 USD like ETH was. People like to put their orders a little bit below, so 399 to 390 you might hit, just because people want to get their orders hit before the big wall that's usually round numbers. So we draw this line here, and this is our current top, right? So then, as you can see, these areas, the fib levels basically self-adjust here to basically be what they were before, support and resistance. So you can see here we hit resistance, we passed it, hit resistance here, we passed it, resistance here, shot up, and then that's when, and it's kind of a turning point. That's when people say, oh, I've made $100,000, I think I'm going to sell and cash that in. Maybe I can get ETH at a lower price, which of course they could have. And basically that's kind of where the buyers run out and all the buyers turn to sellers. And then that's when you have lots of take profit and stop losses get hit and everything. So I'll just show you this here. We're going back down. This is support. We passed it, we touch it, it's resistance. Keep going through support. And you kind of get stuck in these channels. And this one is support. That was major support where everyone said, okay, from 400 USD to 165, that's, almost like a 3x profit. If I buy in now and it gets back up there, I could sell it for a good profit. So you see this is a giant flag, and I'll go into chart patterns in the next video, I think. So flags usually mean that the price is pinching here, and then it's going to make a decision point. So you can kind of see it play with this resistance and support here, resting on these fib levels, and then this is your kind of top, and then it continues on. So this is basically your fibs, so that you can kind of future proof of where the price is going to go and where it's going to stall out going up. And that's if you don't have a pass to go with. In this case, you do kind of have a pass to see. So everyone's kind of seeing these and trading those lines. Another type of tool is like a channel, where you have a bottom and a top, and you kind of confirm the bottom. So you'd have two bottoms here on this channel, and then your top. So you draw this basically parallel lines with your trend line in the middle, and you can kind of see the trend line keeping up, crossing, retouch, and then came down to here, right? Going up, we came up, passed it really hard, came back and retouched it. Going up. So there's more lines inside. It depends if you use different things. I'll get into the pitchforks later. Or if you have, horizontal lines in here as support and resistance. This, of course, is just one example of a parallel kind of diagram. So we can see here that we're in this channel, and in the next picture, we can see that it's still valid. So this is ETH to BTC on the 1 day. So currently it's still valid. What I'm expecting, and some other people might be expecting, is we touch this bottom channel 3 times. We could touch it a 4th. We could break through it, and that breaks this whole channel, right? So most people might be buying down here, expecting it to at least touch to here. And if it does, take profit of half of your stuff maybe. And if it shoots up to the top, that's when you kind of, to get out because it starts going parabolic at that point. So along with parallel, channels and stuff, there's things called pitchforks. And pitchforks are where you take a really swing low here as your anchor point, and then you have a really swing high and another swing low. And that's the base of your pitchfork here. And then it continues on. The center trend line is where things kind of magnet to, it seems. And as you can see, as we get in blue, it's either kind of dangerous or it's a really great buying opportunity. And as we get in the top blue, it's really great selling opportunity. So this kind of shows long-term growth of a coin. And you can kind of see, if you look on it kind of slanted, you'll see some sort of support around these zones as we go up, or if it breaks through, it catches on another support zone. So people are also watching pitchforks as well as all of the other support and resistance kind of zones. And depending on the people and the amount of money that they have, that's kind of the trend that people follow. So right now we're sitting on this area, and we might dip down into this kind of area. And then that might be, a great buying opportunity, but if it breaks, that's when things kind of get scary. And then is a pitchfork valid? It's hard to say. This pitchfork here on Monero, 1 day to Bitcoin, has been a thing since 2015. So usually that's a good sign until, a coin has unexpected news or some issues struggling or that kind of thing. So pitchforks, they can be very big and messy, and you can kind of configure them if you want. This one is on Bitcoin to the dollar on a 1 day. So my anchor point is right at the beginning of 2017, which is kind of the area that I got into Bitcoin. And Ethereum on a swing high, swing low. Swing low is your anchor point, and then you find a high and a low here to be the base of your pitchfork. And then you can extend the pitchfork out to be more than just a few lines. So in this case, when it's really red, we have gone super parabolic and we need to get out, right? So this could have predicted when you wanted to get out near the top here because it's gone parabolic too much. And as things come down, this could be a zone of where it's kind of parabolic going down. So this could be a good buying opportunity. It depends, if things keep going down the trend. We still haven't broken the trend yet. It could happen around this line right here, or somewhere else. But if it does break the pitchfork, then either you fine tune the pitchfork or you change its positions and anchors to show kind of long-term growth and going downwards as well. So this chart looks very messy with all the lines and red and blue and what the heck's going on. These are all the support and resistance zones that I can kind of, when I first look at a chart, I think of all of the support and resistance lines, and I kind of pick and choose where they are based on where the price stalled for a bit. So as we look at where we are right now at Bitcoin, around $6,500, we can see these zones being, the red being support, places that we might fall to and play with the price a bit. And then the blue areas are resistance, and you can see that they were before and they are again. You can see here, going across here, that they were all the same. You can see we retouched this support zone, and then around here and around here you can see all the action. Here's 4 tops that had wicks on them. So you kind of see these just looking at a chart really quickly where all the zones are. And then of course the very top is going to be the very hard one to cross whenever we get back up there. So going back to the basic picture of the support and resistance, knowing what we kind of know now, you can see that it's been resistance for a week. If it crosses, it's going to be support, and then it's going to be support, it's going to be support, and now it's resistance again. So we just basically keep playing these support and resistance lines so we know where the price is about to stay or go, that kind of thing. That's basically it for this video. I want to be a quick video, and next video I want to get into some chart patterns which focus on these invisible lines of support and resistance in different types of patterns. So you can kind of see patterns, see support lines, and start seeing how things go in the crypto space. And that's about it. Thank you.